Mohamed Light is the greatest Clash Royale player of all time. This is a known fact, but what you might not have known is that he broke the world record for ranked medals last season, finishing number 1 with a medal count of 4,161. Today, Mohamed has given me the privilege of showcasing and sharing his games with the world, so I'll be running through all of his games that got him this medal record using minor control. It's also worth mentioning that he finished number 6 in the world on his flashlight account, and during season end, he had 4 accounts in the top 5 in the last few hours. Before we get into the games, only a small percentage of people that watch my channel are actually subscribed. If you enjoy top tier content featuring special guests like Mohamed Light, consider subscribing. It's free and it would really help me out, because these videos take a lot of effort to both coordinate and produce. The growth on my channel has been insane lately, and we are well on our way to 70k. I'm grateful for all of your love and support. Now, let's get right into the games that made history. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Mohamed Light has gone and made history once more by finishing number 1 in the entire world in the Clash Royale ranked season. If you take a look at his profile, he already had number 1 from before, but now the medal count of 4161 is right there by that number 1 finish, new medal world record. Final game to get this record was against Nikoko. As you can see, Nikoko, a very good player in his own right, has a number 1 ladder finish himself, so definitely a pretty interesting opponent for Mohamed here. And if Nikoko won this match, maybe he would have finished number 1 instead. So Mohamed Light has done us the great service of sharing all of his replays for me to showcase with you guys, broadcast his gameplay to the world, let you learn from the best, and commentate and analyze with my own thoughts. So we'll be doing that today. We'll be going over all of Mohamed Light's games, and it's going to be a great one. Mo playing his trademark minor wall breakers deck. As you can see, Nikoko on the top playing bridge spam. He is known for both giant and bridge spam decks, but one interesting thing about this match is that Nikoko does have the Mother Witch, which is already wreaking havoc right at the start over here, because that's just going to turn any bait that Mohamed has into cursed hogs. And if you take a look at Mohamed's deck construction, he has the spear goblins, he has the bats, he has the wall breakers, and he has a goblin hut. 4 of those cards are all susceptible to getting turned into pigs, especially the baity cards like spears, because they just get one shot by the Mother Witch, and that's honestly going to be a pretty uphill battle for Mohamed to contend with. As you can see over here, Ghost comes in raged up by the Lumberjack, and Mo does not go for anything on that. Didn't want to waste a log, didn't want to go bats to leave them susceptible to a Mother Witch, giving her a whole array of bats to have free reign over. And that was just kind of an exercise in elixir management, because you can see that both Mo and Nikoko are equal on elixir. Mohamed didn't want to go down elixir right away, so he just took some damage to maintain the elixir differential here. And I think it's really great that Mohamed was able to share his replays with us, because I did record a lot of these games live, and I think that's really fun to watch, you know, live in the moment. At the same time, though, you can see elixir in the replay. You know, Clash Royale removed elixir spectating from live gameplay, so it's actually a really nice thing that we're going to have elixir, and we're going to be able to see the bars of both players throughout these replays. I think that's just really cool. Mo goes for the defensive minor, which is definitely called for, because this is actually a huge push, even if it doesn't look like much. Golden Knight is so beefy, Lumberjack does so much damage, and that's another kind of X factor for Nikoko in this match here, that Golden Knight, because again, Mo has a lot of bait swarm cards. Evo breakers, Evo bats, arrows get forced out, and spears do catch that Mother Witch, but not before she spawns 3 cursed hogs. Mo all the way back to a new pair of wall breakers, and Evo Lumberjack will come down along with the heal spirit. Still no damage for Mohamed whatsoever. This is honestly so interesting. Back to the point I was making before, the Golden Knight will be able to have free reign over spears and the Goblin Hut as well, so just a very great card. And speaking of counter decks, I think Mohamed actually put the Fireball in this deck specifically for that Mother Witch. You know, he does probably switch between Fireball and Poison from time to time, but nonetheless, really nice wall breakers coming out from Mohamed there, trying to stop that Gold Knight from dashing onto the miner and the tower. Nikoko, one step ahead, was able to anticipate that and didn't even pop the ability, but still very nice awareness by Mohamed. We see a Mother Witch, which will have to get fireballed off immediately. That is just so problematic, because Mo just can never kind of breathe when he wants to play bats or spears. He always has to be careful. Look at that, the Gold Knight just getting a dash over. Nikoko, I believe, playing the first cannon cart of the game, and getting a lot of value is that cannon cart. Defensive minor forced out again. Now Mohamed kind of bleeding in both sides. Golden Knight dash does come down on the tower in the right, and this is not looking good, but these Evo wall breakers, Nikoko has no arrows in cycle, so that's a really smart pair of Evo breakers, and Mo is right back in the game with that double connection. Really nice awareness of Nikoko's cycle, and that's going to do a great job. Now we have the Evo Ram, which will have to get fireballed off, because if you play a building, it just doesn't do a great job. Minor wall breakers up high, very, very nice play by Mo. Not only defending, but also pressuring while defending, forcing out a ghost by Nikoko, preventing him from going full send and going on full offense with that. And so now we're going into triple elixir with Mohamed Light down damage in both lanes. We're going to have to see some crazy sequences in order to break through Nikoko's crazy deck, because honestly, he has a lot of crazy cards in this deck. Miner comes down, interestingly enough, to snipe that cannon cart instead of on the tower. Lumberjack fails to predict, but this push is absolutely crazy. Fireball will come down, that one cursed hog is going to whittle away, headbutt that tower, getting so much damage, and now Mo is forced to get so much damage himself. He has to get at least 2-3 miners on the tower, as well as at least one fireball, I have to say. One miner does come down, Knight does block that Mother Witch, and Spears, look at that, Mohamed trying not to go fireball on the Mother Witch, because he wants to fireball the tower instead. Very, very smart, keeping his Goblin Hut alive, and constantly pressuring with these bats, trying to force out the arrows. Heal Spirit will come down, does not take care of all the bats though. New Goblin Hut is down, fireball immediately on the Mother Witch. Look at that patience and discipline by Mohamed. There's only 20 seconds left, and he is still fireballing Mother Witches, not the tower. Defensive Evo Breakers will come in, and that's going to do a great job at just taking out Nikoko's troops. Wallbreaker will go all the way to the tower, sneak in, and suddenly Mohamed is all the way back in the lead. Golden Knight does come down, Mo gets the fireball down, and look at that, Wallbreakers at the top, preventing the Golden Knight from dashing onto the tower. Even if it didn't, Mo got the fireball, so he would have won, but that was still such a nice, aware, self-conscious play just to prevent the dash, and an amazing, beautiful win for the #1 game. So the second replay of the day that Mohamed Light has shared with us is a win against Ian77. And if you guys know anything about Ian77, this man is cracked. He has a #1 ladder, #1 global tournament finish, and I believe is the world record holder for the most #1 global tournament finishes out of anyone in Clash Royale. And if you weren't aware, he just qualified for CRL World Finals 2025 by taking home the golden ticket in the last month's monthly qualifiers. Playing on the stage against players like Mohamed Light, Mohamed also competed in this competition, and Ian was the one who won against everyone, took it all home. So Ian, a very good player, a good friend of mine as well, and it's going to be a great match. So Mohamed back to the poison. I do believe he was just playing Fireball for that win against Nikoko. Nonetheless, the deck essentially stays the same. And I just want to say, I honestly believe this archetype, Minor Wallbreakers, is the most consistent and best archetype in Clash Royale in history. I mean, Minor is such a consistent win con, and I believe you can really outplay any matchup and win against anything with this card. That's why people like Mohamed, Morton, and players of those caliber choose to play this archetype as their main deck at the end of the ladder season. I genuinely do believe this is the most consistent archetype in Clash. Mo goes for the bats to pressure behind that Knight. Ian does miss one bat with the Ice Spirit, not a big deal though, only one nibble comes down. And so this is going to be an interesting match because it's just Drill versus Miner, two very similar but different win cons at the same time. Ian has a Demolisher, Evo Snowball, and Drill comes down, but this counter push by Mo is going to be pretty big. You know, he has Minor Breakers in cycle, pops the Miner down with the Spears, and now I think he can go for the Evo Breakers. Yes, he will opposite, knowing that Ian is low on Elixir, and we see the Knight, and Ian gets forced to play Snowball, Ice Spirit. At this very microsecond that Ian plays those down, Mo with the immediate Knight Evo Bats opposite lane punish. Mo will sack a bit of damage in the right, but goes for the Miner, and Ian is just done. He can't do anything, and that is exactly how I can sum up Mohamed Light's playstyle. You know, just perfect card cycle counting, perfect elixir counting, and even against players that are world-class, genuinely CRL world finalists like Ian, who is now in world finals, they can lose in the first 2 minutes because Mohamed just punishes them perfectly. And so I want you guys to rewatch that and see exactly how Mo controlled that. He essentially set that up by going for the bats to pressure at some points, going for the breakers at other times, and just orchestrated that perfect sequence to force out the Ice Spirit Snowball, and once that was done, he sacked damage and took the entire tower for a beautiful win against Ian. Alright, so the third replay of the day is against this Israeli player. As you can see from the profile, he finished #4 in the world on ladder last season, and it was essentially proven that this was Batfist pushing the account. I mean, this account got banned, Batfist's main account got permanently banned, the account that has 3 #1 ladder finishes, by the way. And I mean, #4 ladder finish, let's be honest, who else is capable enough to push an account and get #4 in the world with 3.0 Expo cycle? I think it was kind of obvious if you ask me. But nonetheless, this is a nice game of Mohamed against Batfist. I'm just going to call him Batfist, to be honest with you. And Mohamed is playing a different version this time around. He has Rocket instead of Poison or Fireball, and he has 2 cycle cards along with the Golden Knight Ice Wizard. And this is actually a very real deck that Mohamed created. I saw him pushing quite a lot with this deck, and so it's not just like he was sniping Expo. I think he has a great matchup against Expo, but I think this was still a deck that Mohamed was genuinely playing end season. You know, he just likes minor control, the archetype as a whole, because you can genuinely just win against any deck, any matchup if you play well. And Rocket is such a scary threat because it's the greatest spell in terms of spell cycling, so even if you can't break through, you can just throw rockets on the tower. Batfist, taking a page out of that book, I guess he heard me just now, he just throws a fireball on the tower, and that's basically how you actually want to play this matchup from Expo's side, because if you just keep spamming Expos, they can easily just rocket your Expo out, or they can go Golden Knight Tesla, Ice Wiz Tesla, lots of options, right? So you need to fireball cycle, and then once the minor player overcommits and goes too aggressive, then you can punish them and get a lock with your Expo. That's essentially how this works. I would say that the Golden Knight in this deck helps Mohamed a lot as well, because not only is it great against the Expo, the Skellies, the Tesla, just getting chains onto everything, but it is specifically good against archers. It is just huge. Here you see Batfist kind of goes for a panic log because that Golden Knight was there just to pressure and force out the idea of going for a dash on those Skellies cycled low. You know, he wasn't obviously Mohamed going to pop that ability and go for such an aggressive play that early on, but he just threatened it. And so now we see a nice punish by Batfist going for the Evo Archers plus Knight opposite lane once the rocket's forced on the bow, but a very nice usage of the Evo Ice Spirit and no panic, just keeping a cool head by Mohamed, easily defended. And so lesser players, more inexperienced players usually fall victim to that play of Expo, where you go Expo one side, you have a Knight Evo Archer punish the other side, and you can just lose the game. I win games a lot like that myself. But Mohamed, that's not going to work on someone like Mohamed Light. So when Expo comes down opposite lane by Batfist here, Mo with the immediate Tesla plus Ice Wizard, and log 2. The Ice Wiz slow is actually so crazy. Expo does just temporarily lock, but that is just a dream, just a wish for Batfist. Does get a second one though, honestly, that I was not expecting, but Mo just gets a nice Evo Ice to clean it up, and he's actually still in the lead by getting some miners on the tower in the opposite lane. So it's going to be pretty much impossible for Batfist to ever get an Expo luck after that. I think that was essentially the last time we'll ever see an Expo on the tower. Pre-Tesla cycled by Batfist here, and so at some point Mo can definitely go for the miner plus rocket on the tower. It's just going to be a question of when, because he can't get punished by an Expo at the same time. Here you can see Golden Knight plus Tesla is pretty potent, but Mo just goes to juke out and act like he's going to go for the Tesla. You know, Knight is forced to be played on the Golden Knight. Then he just throws a rocket, knowing that he's getting 9 elixir worth of value on the Knight plus Expo. So very, very nicely done. Pre-Tesla comes down, Batfist matches it with a Tesla of his own, and Mo just makes sure his Tesla wins the bridge battle, just kind of sitting there and being annoying. Batfist does not catch that miner, and so you can see that Mohamed, I think the last like maybe 3-4 miners have all been in vastly different spots, and that Golden Knight dash is just absurd. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of ridiculous. I don't think that was deserved. I think Golden Knight is a ridiculous card. Nonetheless, though, that dash does get onto the tower. Mo with the amazing reaction time, doesn't even need to rocket this Expo. Instantaneous Ice Wizard plus Ice Spirit, and then the Golden Knight comes down after the Ice Spirit wears off, and that's a very easily defended Expo without needing to go for the rocket. I think what really separates a good player from a great one in this match is their ability to defend an Expo without going for a rocket. Same applies to log bait players. You know, really good log bait players can defend your Expos without having to burn a rocket, and so that's just how they can save the rocket for offense, and it's just honestly very frustrating as the Expo player, as someone who plays Expo myself, to deal with someone that has this level of Expo defense. And so now Batfist has no hope, because honestly all he has to do from Mohamed's side is rocket every Expo. He once again switches up the miner placement and gets directly on the tower. A prediction Tesla, what looks like, gets on the Expo in the other side, and that is half the Expo gone. Golden Knight can dash, does not pop it, but Mo is just very easily defending. You know, Batfist kind of maybe up a bit of elixir, but I mean, not really. Miner will come down on top of the Expo this time, which is, again, the problem with Miner in this matchup. You can literally just Miner on the Expo as a last resort option, and again, this is definitely a very hard matchup for Expo, but I still think Mohamed played it perfectly and showed exactly why he's the best, because Batfist didn't even stand a chance. He got one lock, and like I said, that is the last time he would ever get a lock, because there was just no hope. Mohamed just knows exactly how to play, how to react to Expos in time, how to defend everything perfectly, and how to balance offense and defense with the miners on the tower as well. So the next game of the day that Mohamed has shared for us is a win against Eigor, and Eigor I don't think is a player that needs any introduction. As you can see, he won Retro Royale, so I think he knows what he's talking about. He is a world-class player, and he's also been in CRL many times, definitely known as one of the highest talent players in history of Clash as well. And so Mohamed here playing his classic Miner Wall Breakers Poison deck, Eigor playing a version that looks to be Miner Golden Knight Rocket, and Mo with the traditional Mo play, trademarked Wall Breakers at the back first play, very interesting play, very interesting option, and it's something that was kind of popularized recently as a very safe, just Mohamed type play. You know, I think there was quite a lot of attention there. Mo with the bats into a knight. Knight will tank for the bats. Bats will lurk in front, and a lot of bats damage does come in. Mo goes for the log as well to knock that Gold Knight back. Knight gets on the tower, and that is an absurd amount of damage early on. That's actually just crazy. What even just happened with Igor's tower getting mauled to half health in the first 50 seconds of the match? I don't even understand. Eigor trying to bounce back with Miner Golden Knight counter push of his own, just not going to do anything. And Mo does have the Evo Breakers in hand, pops another Miner there, and Eigor is just stunned. I mean, what is he supposed to do right now? He goes for the Evo Breakers too, does Mo, just knowing that's a free +1 trade, and so the cannon does get forced out by Eigor, but Eigor is like, nah, I have a bone to pick. I'm getting my counter push. And look at that very smart awareness by Mohamed, guys. Eigor will get a lot of damage back, but I think that was very important because a Golden Knight will one-shot spears with its dash. So Mohamed knew that and did not go for the Spear Goblins in the Golden Knight. Instead, he allowed it to connect instead of going for them in Golden Knight dash range. Went for the Spears up high, got back to the Knight and waited for enough Elixir to retarget the Golden Knight off the tower. I think that was such a nice play that a lot of people that are more casual at this game would not have seen. Evo Ice by Eigor does come down, but that is not going to take care of these Evo Bats because it does not follow the Bats. It's kind of stuck in one place. And so Golden Knight forced out by Eigor as well. And this is just a crazy slugfest, man. I don't even know what's going on. I find it very interesting, by the way, how both these players are playing different variations of Miner decks. I mean, Eigor playing a very similar deck to what Mohamed had, although he has the Spears and the Cannon instead of the Tesla and the Ice Whiz in the last game that Mohamed played against Batfist. But Mo is playing this traditional Miner Goblin Hut Wallbreakers deck, and it is pretty interesting. I think it's kind of meta because Golden Knight Goblin Hut is very strong and quite frankly overpowered. But I do find it interesting how Mohamed's choosing to play with the Knight instead of a champion, because you saw last season this exact deck was meta too, but people with this deck were playing with the Mighty Miner or Gold Knight in here instead of the Knight. So Eigor with the Miner plus Rocket, just let go by Mohamed, not going to feed into that. Poison plus Miner down by Mo as well. Another big counter push is about to come down. I don't know if you guys missed it, by the way, but that was a really nice play by Eigor. Full countering Spear Goblins with Skeletons. I don't know how that worked, but it obviously was a thing, and you should rewind and watch that as well, because again, both these players are world class. Eigor with the Miner plus Rocket. Will that be enough to stop the Breaker, though? No, too aggressive by Eigor, getting a little bit too trigger happy, one to take the tower down, and a crazy slugfest between two amazing Miner players. Mohamed Light will come out on top. Can I just say how it seems like every next game that we look at is even crazier than the last one, because now we are up against Samuel Basto, who finished number 3 in the entire world on ladder last season, also finishing above 4,100 medals, using Hog Rider Earthquakes, one of the best Hog EQ players of all time, and Mohamed back to his Golden Knight Ice Wizard Rocket deck. I can tell you right away just by looking at these matchups that it looks very good for Mohamed on paper. I mean, Samuel, his only real way of getting damage is with a Hog. A very nice E-Spirit Chain, though, gets onto the tower, and that's a nice early lead for Samuel. But even though he does have the Hog as his win con, it's going to be impossible to ever get to the tower, because Mohamed has an ultra fast cycle, Ice Spirit Skellies, and he has a Tesla. On top of that, he has the Golden Knight to match Samuel's 3-card cycle with the Mighty Miner, but on top of that as well, he has the Ice Wizard, which Samuel just cannot kill. You know, without a Fireball or a Poison, you are not going to kill an Ice Wizard on the other side of the map, and that's just not going to happen right now. So Samuel gets a pretty nice offensive push here, Mighty Miner plus Hog plus Firecracker, and that's just going to amount to absolutely nothing through that impenetrable defense, again, with the Ice Wizard being a cherry on top over there. And so now we see a nice counter push by Mohamed, Golden Knight tanking for the Miner, tons of Miner damage screaming in as Mo goes for the Evo Ice opposite lane. But this punish by Samuel is really nice. Mo goes for the log, Samuel's going to get 2 hits there, so it looks like I spoke too soon. I'm not sure why Mo went for the Evo Ice opposite, that was an interesting decision, but Samuel is in the lead. It looks like Mo was trying to do some crazy dual lane pressure shenanigans, and Samuel was just like, nah, man, I'm just going to get 2 hog hits, and that's not going to be what you're looking for. So it's actually looking good for Samuel. But like I said, I do feel like as this game goes on, it's going to get even more tricky for Samuel over time. Mo goes for the rocket on the Mighty Miner. Very nice juke out by Samuel. Pops that ability, so essentially gets 1 elixir for playing a Mighty Miner. You know, he played 4, he popped the ability, that's 5. Mo spends 6 on the rocket, that doesn't do anything to the Mighty, but I still don't think it's going to amount to anything, man, because look at this. Ice Whiz for the Mighty, High Tesla, Anti-Earthquake for the Hog. And that Ice Whiz is just insane. Look at that Ice Whiz. Like I said, Samuel genuinely just cannot do anything, bro. That Ice Whiz soloed a Mighty Miner plus Firecracker all by itself. That is an insane +4 trade. And so Ice Whiz, such an underrated card. Speaking of underrated, very nice play by Mohamed there. If you're playing a rocket deck and you get outcycled by a hog, do not be afraid to rocket the hog if they outcycle you, because you don't want to overspend on defense. You don't want to line your troops up, you know, if you went like Golden Knight, Ice Whiz, and a bunch of spam. You don't want to line your troops up and give the opponent a free Firecracker on the tower. So instead, what Mohamed did was just took the -2 to fix his cycle. Now he has Tesla for the next hog, and he's chilling. And again, he's going to rocket this hog plus Mighty. There is no shame in that, plus the log on the Firecracker. It's just a nice play, and it fixes your cycle, and he's honestly in the lead right now, and this is only going to get worse for Samuel now, because honestly, as this game progresses, it's just going to be even worse. I don't really see how Samuel will ever break through. He needs to do some 3-card cycle plays probably, and Earthquake cycle as well, of course, but once Mohamed throws the rockets, it's just going to be really bad. Samuel does get a nice Mighty ability just in the nick of time, but Mo is already back to another miner with that 3-card cycle afforded to him by the Golden Knight. He's also just doesn't even need a Tesla for this hog. Goes for the Ice Whiz in the corner. Notice that Samuel goes for the pre-log, and Mo was 1 step ahead of that prediction log, had skeletons in cycle, instead goes for the Ice Whiz off to the corner outside of log range, and just defends that hog for no hits without even falling for Samuel's prediction. That is just a next level play. Miner comes down to snipe the Firecracker because Mohamed is honestly in no rush to get any tower damage, and still does get 1 hit after sniping that Firecracker too. And again, this is what I was talking about against the Expo game as well. I feel like what just makes a player great in a match like this is their ability to defend outside of conventional defense options. Look at that, Ice Whiz plus Evo Ice, and a backwards Golden Knight dash to defend that hog. I haven't seen Mo play a Tesla in like 1 minute, and he's still taken 0 hog hits, 0 Firecracker damage. This is just absurd control of this match. Like I said, I do think this is an easy matchup for Mohamed, but he still just made it look like Samuel was a Challenger 1 player. I mean, he could not break through no matter what he did, and that was just such an impressive set of defenses and sequences overall. Man, it's honestly sad that we are already at our final replay of the day, but Mohamed's final game that he shared with us is this win against Issei, who is one of the best bridge spam players of all time, also has a #1 finish on one of his other accounts, so very talented player, playing this boss bandit bridge spam deck that has been around for a couple of seasons now. So I feel like this defense by Mohamed is going to need to be immaculate, because Issei's pressure is just next level, with boss bandit, normal bandit, real ghost, and ram rider. And he also has the Evo Eggsy to defend against all of Mohamed's squishy troops like the bats, the spears, and the wall breakers. So this defense is going to need to be next level. A bandit comes down, and Mo with a very nice knight, serving a dual purpose. #1 takes out that bandit. #2 will walk over and take care of that ghost as well. Knight is just a very solid card. Definitely feels like a card that Mohamed would play in this deck. I mean, again, the champions are so strong here, but I feel like there is still a reason Mo likes the Knight. It's just a very solid, good stats for the cost type card, you know? Goblin Hut played for this Ram. We will not see a log to reset the Ram charge. Looks like Mo doesn't really care about keeping the hut alive. I mean, there's no real purpose in that, right? Might as well just let it die, because it doesn't spawn anything if there aren't troops next to it. A Miner to the back to keep that boss bandit down low, and forcing out an Evo, or a normal snowball, but cycling to the Evo by Issei. And that's just very nice early plays by Mohamed to keep this pressure going. And he might go for a Miner to break the Eggsy here. He does, but Issei was patient, wait on the executioner, very well played by both sides. Mo with this insanely aggressive early pressure, and it looks like that is the way he loves to play this Miner deck, especially early on against, I don't even know if there are any matchups that he would not play like this in, because you saw him do this against Eigor, you saw him win against Ian in the entire game just by winning in single. Like, this is just some crazy stuff. But there, very unfortunate interaction with that Ghost getting tanked for by the Ram Rider. A very sneaky, spooky Ghost gets a bunch of hits on the tower, and a Barb Barrel will clean up all of the counter-pushing spears. Very nice Evo bats by Mohamed, though. Knows that Issei has the Evo Snowball in hand, wants to force that out, and that is indeed forced out. Very nice wall breakers, counting cycle, counting elixir. There was no Barb Barrel, and he didn't want to waste a bandit on the wall breakers, did Issei? Samo gets a nice connection in the left, kind of bouncing back into this game, but Issei still has a nice lead overall. And he does have the lightning, so Issei does have more spell firepower than Mohamed here. But at the same time, I feel like lightning is not what you want in this deck for Issei against this matchup, especially against Mohamed, because there's just nothing to lightning. I mean, what are you going to lightning? A Goblin Hut? That's all you can really do. You're not going to be able to lightning wall breakers, spear goblins, bats, so it just feels like Mohamed's deck is very nicely constructed against lightning as well. A bandit will come dashing in, and this bandit is still active, is going to walk over though, takes the boss bandit charge in the left, and a miner on defense for the Ghost in the right. We will see a Goblin Hut come down on this Ram Rider, and a very nice Goblin Hut right on top, as you can see, to stop it in its place and spawn a lot of spears to DPS. And Evo Breakers on the right will force out the Snowball plus Barb Barrel by Issei. Look at that patience by Issei, nice timing over there. But still, Mo is using his Evos very effectively. You know, now that the Snowball is forced out, he can go for the Evo Bats, and Issei has to get back to an Eggsy. What will he even do? He has to go Boss Bandit, and that Boss Bandit is getting mauled alive by those bats. Have you ever seen a Boss Bandit lose half of his HP on the opponent's side of the board in the span of like 2 seconds? Those Evo bats are still alive and still going crazy. One whole cycle later, they force out the Evo Snowball. That, I believe, was 10 bats in succession over there. Absolutely insane stuff by Mohamed there. And so now he's actually going to have the damage lead, but Issei with this pressure might even go for a lightning. No, look at that very well played by Mohamed set of wall breakers in the left, forcing out the bandit Barb Barrel, which meant Issei could not afford to go for a lightning with his push. Nonetheless, Issei's like, I don't even care, man, I'm still going to get a ram charge on the tower, but Mohamed's like, you have no Barb Barrel, no Snowball and cycle, you cannot defend these Evo wall breakers, and that's exactly what happened. Evo breakers connect on the tower in the right, and this is just an insane match, honestly. I genuinely feel like my time just flies when I watch these games by Mohamed. I can't believe we're at the end of the video pretty much, but there's still 1 minute left. You know, anything can happen, so Mohamed still needs to lock in for a triple elixir and see exactly how he's going to defend this crazy bridge spam pressure. So dual bandits over there in the middle, and Issei has still not had a singular chance to play his lightning, by the way. Mohamed with some insanely fast cycling all the way back to his second Goblin Hut for one defensive sequence, and he does take 0 hits there. Issei also, to his credit, also takes 0 damage from Mohamed's counter push. A miner will come down, and Issei's cycle is so messed up that he could not catch that with anything. No elixir for the boss bandit, no ghost, no bandit in cycle, and so Mohamed is going to take the lead off of that, and now a lightning is not enough for Issei to take the lead. What he has to do is get a connection with the Ram Rider or a troop. So he's going to try his best right now. Boss Bandit, if that dashed, that would have been game over, but no dashes for Issei. We might see an Evo Snowball to try and force something out. Evo Breakers found on defense. Goblin Hut on defense against the Ram Rider. Unfortunately for Issei, he could not do anything against Mohamed Light, and that was another beautiful win. And overall, can we just talk about how crazy Mohamed was? I mean, massive congratulations to him again for breaking the greatest medal record in Clash Royale history.